Good evening. Welcome to day 3 Perl training from Verification and Validation School. This training is absolutely free. We are now under certain constraint. So while the training is under progress, you might not be able to ask any queries, but you can certainly like our page at www.facebook.com/verification-validation, um, and you can post your queries on appropriate section. For example, we have Perl day 2 classes recording available here, Perl day 1 recording available over here. You can post your assignment and assignment solution and your queries on that particular day as a comment to this section. Um, and next thing, we would be as usual giving you assignment, and we would validate them subjected to the availability of any of our team members. We hope you would have a great learning experience at the end of the day, and do not forget to like us at our FB page Verification and Validation. That way you can express your gratitude to yourself. Happy learning. Now in day 2 we learned a lot of things. We learned about array list, we covered in detail. We learned about scoping, we learned about control flow, and we had left hashes. So today we'll be learning about hash. So looking back on what we covered on day 2, we covered about pop and push function, we covered about shift unshift, we covered everything about sort, splice, we covered the reverse function, we covered about Perl's built-in variable, what is $_. Then we covered how we can iterate over an array. Then we learned something about %env. We learned about the argv, the command line argument. And there were a lot of built-in variables which we had left, and we would read about it in the upcoming classes when we will have a more detailed coverage on Perl. Then we learned about scoping, why to use my variables. Then we learned about the package variables. We learned about the pragmas, strict, warning, and diagnostics, and how they are useful when you are starting your Perl career. And we learned about the scoping keywords, which are my, local. Then we learned about our. We learned about the state. We also learned about looping and the control flow. We learned about the else, if, unless. We learned about the ternary operator. We went through the for and for each loops. Then we covered the while and until loop. We read something about last, next, redo, continue. Then we learned about the statement modifiers. We learned about the switch statements, what that is given and when. And we learned about split. We learned about array slices. We learned about the joins. Then we read about the context in Perl. We read about arrays in scalar context. We read about the list context. We learned about merging arrays. Then we had assignment for the second classes. So today we will be learning about hash in Perl. Today we'll be learning about hash in Perl. So one of the reasons Perl is so popular because of how easy it is to sling that around. Hashes are a perfect example of this. A hash is similar to an array, except that instead of indexing into the hash using integers, you use strings. So index in case of an array is integer, but in case of hash it is strings, the index. So you refer to the strings you index into the hash as keys, and the values that return are, well, they're called values. So it is basically a key value pair. We will understand more about it. So it is a first class data structure which associates string keys with scalar values. So string keys with scalar values. The association happens with the string keys and with the scalar values. Now think of a hash like a contact list. So in contact list, what happens? You have your friend name written, okay? You have John, and his number will be written as, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, let me give me three these numbers, okay? Then you have Mike. His contact number is 456. You have Carl. His contact number is 890. Okay. Now, for example, this is a contact list which you have maintained, and you have maintained the name and you have maintained a number. Okay. So this forms an element of hash. Here the key is John and the value is 123. The key is Mike, the value is 456. The key is Carl and the value is 890. So if you have experience in other language, then you might have something known as, in other language we have something called hash table, or you call it associative array, or you even call it dictionary. In other languages, in Perl it is simply called as hash. Now in arrays, let's look at an example. This is an array. Let me call it as country. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So how do you print India here? You write something like print dollar country, and you will print the index, right? You will give the index here, backslash n is for a new line. Now we need to save it. So after saving it, when we run it, bare keyword India is not allowed while strict. Okay, fine. So okay, so when these are strings, you quote it, right? You quote the strings. You have to quote the strings. So because we have used warnings and strict pragma, we got a nice error message in our output, and we could easily understand the error message and fix it. Now let's run the output. You see, we have nicely, it has printed India because the 0th position of the array country is India. Okay. Now how can we do the same thing in hash? Now hash is declared in a different way. The sigil for hash is percentage. My percentage. Let me call this hash as citizen is equal to, I will give Amar Next is India. Okay. Akbar, Pakistan. Anthony, Bangladesh. Okay. So as I have told you earlier, in order to as I have told you earlier, in a hash, the values entry are considered as a key and value pair. So the two entries would be picked as one single value in this hash. So Amar and India are linked with each other, while Amar is the key, India is the value. Akbar is the key, Pakistan is the value, Anthony is the key, and for the key Anthony, the value is Bangladesh. Okay. So how to print it? For example, if I want Pakistan to be printed out, what I have to do is I have to write print dollar. What is the hash name? The hash name is citizen. And which key I have to access? I have to access the key of Pakistan, which is Akbar. Okay. Then I give a \n for a new line. I save the file. Now if I print it, what will happen? It will check which is the value that is associated with Akbar. So when I run it, it says Pakistan. It says Pakistan. Okay. So we basically understood the way a hash is declared and how it can be accessed and how the value can be accessed. Okay. Now for example, there might be a key present but the value is not defined. We can say undef. The moment we do this, and if we try to access the value associated with Anthony, let's see what it prints out. It says that Anthony has not been initialized. Okay, because it is undefined. So this is not the only way to define a hash. We have something called a fat comma, which is like an equal to and greater than sign. So instead of giving a comma here, you give equal to. This is the sole purpose of legibility and clear understanding. If you don't do it, and if you even give a comma, it will work fine. Okay. So Anthony, he belongs to Bangladesh. We save it. Now if we run the program, it prints out Bangladesh. So the fat comma effectively does serve the same purpose that of a comma. Now I will show you an interesting thing. If I want to print the hash entirely, percentage citizen. Sorry. If I print the percentage citizen, you effectively see that what has happened. Amar, India, Anthony, Bangladesh, Akbar, Pakistan has been returned. Amar, India, Anthony, Bangladesh, Akbar, Pakistan. This is not an effective way to iterate over a hash, but I will tell you later. But as of now, remember it. If I print it, what happens? Do you mark anything different here? Amar, India, fine. This is the first entry. The next entry is Anthony and Bangladesh. It is not Akbar and Pakistan. So you must be very careful to and note it down that the way that a hash is being written when it is printed, it might not be same as the way it has been declared. There might be a difference. So why there is a difference, it is not in the scope of this class. But if you want to read, then read how the hash table is being stored, how the data is stored in a hash table. You might Google it and learn about it. Okay, now we learned about fat comma. Then we'll learn about adding data to hashes. So adding data to hashes is nothing but adding a key value pair. Adding a key value pair. Now if I want to add something to this, we must add a key and add a value to it. If I do a percentage citizen, I will declare a new key. So Amar is there, Akbar is there, Anthony is there. So our key must be unique and different from Amar, Akbar, Anthony. If I use the same key, for example, if I use Akbar here and give the value USA, then print percentage citizen, you see Amar is linked with India, Anthony is linked with Bangladesh, and Akbar, it has been linked with USA. So what we see that if we are trying to give a value to already existing key, it overwrites it. It doesn't matter what is there previously, it overwrites it. But what happens if I give a new key? Angelina. If we run it, we see that Angelina, USA, Amar, India, Anthony, Bangladesh, Akbar, Pakistan. So the citizen hash has now got a new entry. So adding data to hash is very simple. You just have to define a new key and the associated value to it. It will automatically add data to this already declared hash. Now I will show you another thing. Context in hash. Basically we will be running about hash slices. What is this hash slices about? I will give you an example on the hash slice. Now there is a hash which is declared as my percentage citizen, Amar, India, Akbar, Pakistan, Anthony, Bangladesh. Now I want to collect the country. When I want to collect the country, what I would do is I will simply initialize an array is equal to at citizen. Then I will give the necessary keys. Amar, Akbar. Okay, I had left out Anthony intentionally. Now, what do you think this array will contain. When you do this, this is called a hash slice. The values associated with this particular key would be put into this array and it would be assigned to the left hand side. So let's run this. You have to declare my citizen my at citizen is equal to Amar Akbar, or let's omit this strict. Print at percentage. Okay, the mistake is here. We have to give when accessing the hashes, we have to access using the curly braces. Save it. When we run it, we effectively printed out India and Pakistan. So this is basically called the slice, because we are taking the slice few parts of this hash. This is called a hash slice. Another important point you should remember, hash keys can only be strings. Anything that evaluates to a string is an acceptable hash key. Okay. Now we will learn about two functions, exist and defined. Exist basically validates if a key is there or not. Defined, let me write it, exist, it is exists, check if a key is there or not. It does not check if that key has got a value. While defined, it checks if a value is associated with a key in a hash. So exist check if a key is there or not. It does not check if that key has got a value. Undef means it does not have a value, it is not initialized. So let's check print I am good if statement modifier, if you remember, if exist $citizen Amar. So it would print I am good if the key Amar exists in the citizen has. So let's see, let's save it, then run it. I am good. Now in place of Amar, let me put Angel. Angel key is not there in this citizen has, so it won't print anything. It does not print anything. Now let me write Anthony C. Anthony key is there. It does not have a value. So let's see how it works. It prints I am good. So basically the exist function in the hash, it sees if a key is present in a hash or not. Now defined. Print I am good if defined citizen Anthony. Anthony does not have a value, so it won't print good. It didn't print anything. If we have a else function, it will print that else, or it will do whatever there is in the else loop. So let's see if I write Amar here. Amar has got a value, so Amar is defined, so it must print I am good. So now you learnt about defined and exist in Perl, in hash. Now using exist instead of accessing the hash key directly, it avoids two problems. First, it does not check the Boolean nature of the hash value. A hash key may exist with a value even if that value evaluates to Boolean false, including undef. Now we will learn about a very critical functionality in hash, iterating over the elements in a hash. How to select the values in a hash. So this is a hash, my $citizen, my hash, my percentage citizen, Amar India, Akbar Pakistan. Now if I print percentage citizen, you noticed that it is not written in a very legible manner. Key value pair, those are, there is no space in between, there is no new line between the key value pair, so it is not quite a right way of iterating over a hash. So in order to get individual elements in a manner which is very beautiful and legible, we use the for loop for percentage for dollar item or anything. You can write any scalar value for $x. Keys of percentage, there is no of, but I will pronounce it as percentage citizen I will print what I will print $x and $citizen $x \n. I will make you understand what I meant here. When I collected the keys percentage citizen, what will happen? The keys will be collected inside this bracket. So what will it contain? It will contain Amar, Akbar Anthony. Amar, Akbar, Anthony would be inside this bracket. And when I use $x first it will be assigned Amar. Amar. Citizen with key as Amar. It will print that value. And after printing first line, there will be a, after printing the first key value pair, there will be a new line. Then it will go to the second key. It will print it. So let's see. So it has nicely printed out Amar, India. Anthony, undeaf. So no value. Akbar, Pakistan. So here also there is no sort order maintained, or an order is not maintained. The input order is not maintained. So this is one of the effective way. You assign a scalar item to all the keys of a hash, then print the key and print the value via the key. So this is one of the way to access the hash. There is another way using the while loop. While $k $v, remember context is equal to each percentage citizen print $k print $k $v. This is a very effective way, and this is not complicated also. So let's run this. It has nicely printed the same thing. Amar, India, Anthony is not defined, Akbar, Pakistan. So these are the two ways you can iterate over a hash. Now the next thing is getting the hash size. How will you get the hash size? Hash size is nothing but the size of the keys or the size of the values. Effectively, if you take the size of the keys, then it is the size of the hash. So how to assign get the keys? You can write at ARR is equal to keys percentage citizen at ARR2 values percentage citizen. So let's print the keys are at ARR \n print the values are at ARR2 \n. So when we run this, you see the keys are Amar, Anthony, Akbar. The values are India, Pakistan, because Anthony is undeaf. Now it is up to you to decide how to get the length of this hash. How to get the length? If I assign a scalar $x is equal to at ARR print the length of at array ARR, sorry, length of hash citizen is $x. Generally, it is advisable to take the length of the number of keys present as the length of the hash, because that many without a key there cannot be a value, but without the value there can be a key. So it is wise to take the number of keys present. So the number of keys, how we can obtain it? Just assign the all the keys to an array and find the length of array. When you do this, it will be uh, contextually it would be calculated, and the number of elements in ARR would be calculated, and it would be nicely printed to the console, which is 3. The length of the hash citizen is 3 because it has got 3 keys. Now how can you delete element in a hash? It is also very easy. In case you want to delete the element, just use the word delete. Delete $citizen. I will delete which element? Let me delete Akbar. Then if I have to access, while $k $v is equal to each percentage citizen print $k $v \n. So it has printed Amar India Anthony. Akbar is no more because it has been deleted by using the delete keyword. So here we come to an end of our day 3 hash in Perl. Now it is time for some assignments. That is an array ARR, number 1 question. Let's have an array ARR is equal to A, B, C, D, no, B, C. So here is an array. With this array, prepare a hash which will contain the alphabet as the key and the number of occurrence as its value. For example, when printed, it should display A1, B2, C2. Okay. The second assignment, there is an array at ARR is equal to Jan 31, Feb 28, March 31, April 30. So the question is, prepare a hash with this array such that every 2 elements of this array are read and made a key value pair of a hash called %month, and it would be printed as Jan 31, Feb 28, March 31, April 30. Okay, number third question. Define a, okay, there is a has as percentage h is equal to a 1 b a 1 b 4 c 6 d and f e alpha. Calculate the length of this hash without using key or value word. 4. Now there is a hash percentage student is equal to Ram 20 Rahim. Remember, if you use a fat comma, you don't have to quote it because the left hand side will always be evaluated as a string. Rahim 23 Jesus 21 Mark 20. Now what your program should do, it would accept an input from the and Mohanty, well, the mark is not defined. Sohan is 34. Your program, it would accept an input from the user, and if that input is present as a key in the hash, print the mark obtained by that student. Okay. Now there is a percentage report hash which contains math 100, programming 190, humanities 60, art 40. Write a program to obtain the total mark and the average mark. So these are the subject and this is the mark obtained in that subject. So you have to write a program to obtain the total mark and the average. So this is the end of day 3 Perl. Next class we will be learning about sort, map, grep, and if time would permit in the next class we will learn about references and subroutines or functions. How to create your own function in Perl. With this we end the day 3 class where we covered details about what is hash in a Perl and how to iterate and how to work with hash in Perl Perl data structures. And we have also given you 5 assignment. Hope you enjoyed the class. Thank you very much. Bye.